Buried alive. How to survive a landslide. Hey there, and welcome back to Survive and Thrive, the channel that teaches you how to outthink disaster and outlive the impossible. If you haven't already, subscribe now, because one day, what you learn here might save your life. The mountains were silent that morning, the kind of silence that hides danger in plain sight. Aaron, a 37-year-old geologist, had been hiking through a narrow valley in Northern California, collecting soil samples after several days of heavy rain. The ground was soft beneath his boots, and mist curled between the cliffs like ghosts. He'd walked this path 100 times before. It felt safe, familiar, predictable, but nature doesn't play by human rules. He was halfway down a slope when he heard it, a deep, distant rumble, like thunder trapped inside the earth. Then the vibration hit. The mountain shuddered beneath him, and before he could react, the world exploded in sound and motion. A wave of earth, rocks, and shattered roots broke loose from the hillside and rushed toward him like a collapsing wall. He tried to run. He didn't make it far. Within seconds, he was buried alive. The weight of the earth crushed against his chest, forcing the air from his lungs. Total darkness. Silence. No space to move. Just pressure, fear, and the beating of his heart. For a few seconds, Aaron panicked. Every instinct screaming, move, fight, get out. But then something crucial happened. His training kicked in. He remembered what experts had once taught during a survival course. The first minute determines whether you live or die. Don't waste it panicking. He forced himself to stop thrashing. Every movement would only collapse more soil and steal more oxygen. Instead, he focused on breathing, shallow, slow breaths. He could taste the dirt in his mouth. He closed his eyes and thought, I am alive. I still have air. I can think. That single line, I can think, became his anchor. Now came the science. When you're buried under debris or soil, oxygen runs out fast. Every deep breath or scream accelerates carbon dioxide buildup, which leads to dizziness and unconsciousness. Aaron knew that, so he controlled his breathing, inhaling just enough to stay awake, exhaling carefully through his nose to conserve air pressure. Next, he focused on movement. He tried to wriggle his fingers. If he could move them, it meant the soil wasn't compacted completely. He began to slowly shift his hands near his face, clearing a tiny air pocket, just enough space to breathe more comfortably. He didn't try to dig upward. That's the mistake many make. In a landslide, you rarely know which direction is up, and moving blindly can waste air and energy. Instead, Aaron listened. He tapped the dirt 3 times with a rock, waited, then did it again. Rescuers often use sound patterns to locate victims. It was his only way of calling for help without shouting. Minutes passed, then an hour, then 2. His body ached. His thoughts drifted between fear and exhaustion. But he refused to lose consciousness. He knew that hypoxia, low oxygen, would slowly numb his brain. He had to stay awake. So he spoke softly to himself, repeating his name, where he was, what he'd done. Keeping the brain active keeps the body alive. Finally, faintly, he heard something, voices. Muffled, distant. Someone was searching. He tapped again, 3 quick knocks. Then waited. A faint response came, another 3 taps. Rescue crews had found his signal. By the time they reached him, 4 hours had passed. When they pulled him out, covered in dirt, his pulse was weak but steady. He'd lost nearly all sense of time. The first thing he said was a whisper, I didn't move. I just breathed. Later, rescuers confirmed that if he had panicked, yelled, or tried to dig upward, the shifting soil would have suffocated him within minutes. His calm, methodical thinking had saved his life. Here's why it worked. When trapped underground, your biggest enemies are panic and oxygen loss. The human brain consumes roughly 20% of your body's oxygen. Panic multiplies that. Controlled breathing and minimal movement preserve oxygen and prevent soil collapse. Tapping or using rhythmic noise patterns increases your chance of detection, far more than screaming. Aaron's story is more than survival. It's about clarity under chaos. He didn't have super strength or special equipment. What saved him was knowledge, knowing what not to do. He later said, the scariest thing wasn't the dark or the weight. It was knowing that panic would kill me faster than the dirt. So if you ever find yourself in a landslide, avalanche, or building collapse, remember this. Don't fight blindly. Don't waste your breath. Protect your air pocket. And trust that calm thinking can bring rescue faster than panic ever will. Stay calm. Stay smart. Stay alive. And don't forget to subscribe to Survive and Thrive, because every story here teaches you not just how to survive, but how to think like a survivor. Because survival begins not with strength, but with the mind.